Your credit is very important, especially with the world that we live in right now. It is very important. Please ask me questions. I'm doing a simulcast. I'm on YouTube over here. I'm on TikTok over here. Um, one of one of the things that I really keep a lot of my attention on when it comes to credit, debt, what's going on out there. And one of the things that I don't really understand when it comes to credit is, why do people do all of these things that I would consider like quick fixes, and my employees might come in, so please, that we really do business here. Hold on a second. I'm making a video. I'm making a video. But my employees, we real business here, but sometimes they ask me a question. But what I don't understand is how people will look for quick fixes when it comes to credit. They'll look for the gimmicks, and they see all of these different schemes, and I call them scams, but talking about doing things that I would not advise people to do to try to repair their credit. Because if you think about it, if you do it the right way, no matter how long it takes, if you push through, you do it the right way, once it's done, you don't have anything that you got to look over your shoulder about. And I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching this video, but I'll reiterate it, maybe you don't know, credit is being utilized on insurance. Credit is being utilized on jobs now. Credit is being utilized on getting people on promotions, on promoting people at jobs. Like if there's a tie, you got two people, and they're like, okay, we got person A, person B. Who should we promote? And they say, okay, well, let's break the tie by looking at their credit. And why would they use credit if you're not getting any loan from your company? What would be the logical reason on why they would even care about your credit to break a tie for a promotion, or to just think about promoting you? And that's because they want to have an inside look, or inside peek at how you're running your household. Because if you're going to be in charge of something at their company, they want to make sure that you got your household in order, and they can't go into your house like, hey, let us do an inspection at your house or something. They can't do that. But what they do is they take a little peek at your credit, and they're like, man, this person's credit is a disaster. And they make that bridge estimation that maybe that person's life is a disaster, or that they're just not good at handling money, and they give the other person a promotion. I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen to police officers, which is crazy. I've seen a police officer came to us. He said, I did not get promoted, and they said that I needed to get this taken care of on my credit. He was like, he never, ever thought that as a police officer, that having something on his credit report, a collection, was going to stop him from being able to get approved for a promotion. Like, it never crossed his mind. We've had Secret Service people who were applying for Secret Service to be a Secret Service agent cannot have any collections or anything that's unresolved on their credit report. They can have collections on there, but they have to be resolved. And we've had a doctor. We had a doctor actually that we had to do a settlement for, and I'll look for questions too as we're going through stuff. If you have any questions about credit, let me know too. But we had a doctor. I remember when she came to us and she said, this hospital is threatening to withdraw my contract with them if I don't get this taken care of. It was about $44,000. Maybe it was more than that. It was in the high 40s. And she said, I got to resolve this. She did not have the total amount of money to satisfy that debt. And she came to us, saw me on YouTube or one of the platforms, came to us, had a conversation with her. We said we're going to settle this debt. And we settled that debt for, I think it was $20,000. And we had our fee, I believe, for that one was a couple of thousand. So we had saved her over, I think it had to be more than 40-some thousand dollars, because it was, I know that we had saved her, I think, $21,000. But the biggest thing is that we saved her being able to have her job at the hospital. She didn't know what to do. When she called them, they said, no, you're going to pay the full amount. That's what they told her. We got the file. We're on the phone with these attorneys, and we're going back and forth. We're like, we need to get this done. Think it took 3 weeks of back and forth to get it done. 3 weeks, and we got it done. Saved her job, saved her the money. Another client, she wanted to sell her house. This is one of the ones that a lot of people run into, is that they'll have those judgments on their credit reports. And they're thinking, I don't care. I'm not going to do nothing. They can't take my money, whatever, They just don't even show up, don't do any response. And they end up with a default judgment. When you get a default judgment, they put a lien on your property. They put a lien on the property. Years later, the individual said they were trying to sell their home, and they forgot that lien was on there. The title company said, you have a lien on here. I believe that one was about $25,000. And they did not notify the judgment holder of the lien that she was trying to sell her property, but they said, if you go through with the closing, we're going to take that money and give it to them. And so she came to us. She said, I don't got I think it was 25,000. I don't have $25,000 to pay these people. I'm trying to sell my house, and I want to keep as much money as I can for with this house. I've built this equity, and so she was in a bad situation. Had already had some people that wanted to buy the property. So if she would have bagged out of the deal, she would have been in trouble on that side. And so what we did is we got, consultation with her, and we said, this is strategy I believe that we could do, is that we can get an agreement in place where you're paying payments on that $20-some thousand. And she was like, there's no way that they're going to do that. If I'm selling the house, they're going to want all of the money. They're going to want all the money. This is a what I'm talking about right now. This is a strategy that we use. Even attorneys don't even be thinking this way. We have like brainstorm meetings, and we're like, what can we do to get these things done for our client? And she needed to sell the house. She wanted to keep as much money as possible because she wanted to get moved and into a new place. She was downsizing. She wanted to keep as much money as possible. So I said, well, what if we put together this type of deal where the strategy would be to get an agreement in place where you're making payments on that. You take that agreement to the title company. They'll let everything go through without executing the full payment on the judgment because you have an agreement in place. Guess what happened? Closing went through, had that document signed. We had to sign it. They had to sign it, that this was a true agreement. She put a down payment to execute that agreement, and she was on her way. We told her later, after you build up some money, what we'll do is we'll approach them and we can settle that for less. But this is the thing. This is the benefit. The huge benefit is that she was able to sell her house and they didn't execute the judgment. Because I've seen a lot of people where they went to that closing table, they're about to pass out checks. And guess who's one of the checks was wrote out to? The company that had the debt collector who had a judgment against them. And that, like, if you're going to get, let's just say you inherited a property, was put into your name, and you know, your parents did what they supposed to do. They left it to you free and clear. And then all of a sudden you want to sell it because you live in a house, you want to sell it. And soon as you go to sell it, you got these things that pop up that you didn't take care of. If they're judgments, if it's just a collection, you don't got nothing to worry about. But if it's a judgment, that's going to be they have a duty to notify that judgment lien holder of that payment. So let me check to see if we got any questions? Got any questions about credit? Any questions about credit? Ask your questions now, either on YouTube or you can ask them here on TikTok. So we were able to get that agreement in place. She was able to get her full payment from selling the property, her profit equity back and her profit on selling the property, and then she had that in that agreement in place, and then she was just going to be able to later, if she wanted to, or she could just keep paying the payments. Another one that comes to mind is student loan. This couple, very high income earners. I'm talking about they probably make high $300,000-$400,000 a year. For them to be able to continue in their business, because even if you are working for other companies as an independent, if you're doing jobs that are high contract jobs, they're going to look at your background. And they had some student loans, over $500,000 in student loans. $500,000. They defaulted on it. They were being sued for those payments on the student. Well, no, they weren't even being sued yet. The receiver or the company that was doing the payments, they were threatening to sue them, and they came out and said, Steve, we can't get sued. If we get sued, we can lose our contract. And I was like, well, do you got the money to pay them? Do you have the money to even pay them a settlement, for less? No, we don't have that. We're rebounding, from how business went down during COVID. And they were like, we're rebounding. And I was like, okay, well, this is the strategy. Is that, and they had called them and they said, no, we won't even do no discount, no nothing. That we want all the money for these student loans. You got the education, you pay up. That's what they always saying, right? You got to pay up. In negotiations with the attorney's representative and back and forth, we were able to settle the student loans for 35% on the dollar. Now, we didn't do that. Like I said, they didn't have the money to pay the student loan to even pay the settlement. But this was the arrangement. This is how we kept it out of the courts. This is how we were able to keep other people from knowing their business, because this couple wanted to be able to move forward, is that we negotiated a payment arrangement with that settlement in the 35%. So 35% of the $500,000. We were able to get that done for them, and they make their payments. Their payments are like $5,000 a month. But see, that shows how important it was for them. If they can afford to pay $5,000 a month, and I have to show and sign off, because I made the agreements. They're under our company until that is done, because in a way they use our word that they were going to fulfill those payments. So every time they make a payment, I get notified of a payment, and anything that something has to change, I have to approve it and go back and forth with the company. But they are fulfilling their obligation. They're paying $5,000 a month. So if someone is paying $5,000 a month, the contract that they're getting, that they were able to keep because their personal business was not put on the street, wasn't put in the courts, that it was worth a lot more money. They didn't tell me how much it was worth, but they pay me my fee every month, because we have to keep that going until that whole thing is resolved. I think for that one, I made maybe $10,000 was my fee on that one. But it saved them more than $300,000. And again, just like the doctor is going to make way more than what they pay us in fees and, with that contract. So it is well worth it. Let me look real quick. We got some questions. I know we got a question over here. How do I get started? And do you charge an upfront fee for your credit repair? We don't charge upfront for our credit repair services. To get started, we charge after we start the work, get it sent out, then we do our first fee. If you go to thecreditrepairshop.com, you'll be able to see the different payment plans. But no matter what, as an individual, it's $110.95 per month until everything is done. We start working on everything from day one. We don't try to extend you out, but understand, depending on what you need work on, it could be shorter or take a little bit longer. We offer expedited service if you want to move towards settlement, so you can get done with everything a lot quicker, but you still have to go through a validation process. We don't just send stuff to the bureaus. We also go straight to the furnishers, because they're the ones that put that data on your credit reports, and we have to go to them to see where their standing is on a charged off account, or if something that they sold to a creditor, to get that information removed because they sold it. And there's a lot of things that go into that. I won't go into details on that right now. Other services that we offer. Here was a question on YouTube about services that we offer. So we do credit repair services. Another service that we started about 6 years ago is where, and it was because our clients were, if you got charge-offs on your reports, those creditors or debt collectors could end up suing people. And we did not have a solution for helping people with that. And then I put together a solution. It's called Summons Master. And that's where, if you're getting sued, the best thing for you to do is to submit a response to them, because, number one, they don't even expect it, because 75 to 77% of the people who get sued don't even do nothing. They just don't even respond, nothing. They get default judgment. We help people with a fully formatted response to every allegation in the summons, actually looking at one right now, and a defense to potentially win the case. That's what's very important about this, is that if you're being sued, you always have the option to defend yourself. But the problem is people don't know how to defend themselves. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. They're afraid, anxiety, worries, all that stuff. So I created Summons Master, and it's www.summonsmaster.com. All you have to do is upload your summons, and it will create a fully formatted response to every allegation in your summons and a defense based on the documents that they submitted and allegations to help you win your case. Like, there's no other company that has that out there. We've been doing it, and it's based off of me when I got sued years ago, long time. It's been a long time. I got sued, hired an attorney, not saying that attorneys are bad, don't get me wrong on that. Hired an attorney. All they did is rushed it straight to settlement. I was being sued for over $100,000. They just rushed it to settlement, didn't even do any defense. Later, after I fired them, but it was too late to go back and challenge the case, I could have won the case and not paid anything. Not to say that you don't want to pay what's due to people, but when a debt collector buys a debt, they must prove their case. Even the original creditor, they have to prove their case. But this was a debt collector who purchased an old debt from a business debt. I was sued in a whole other state that I didn't even live in. And if the attorney would have just did their job, I would have won that case. But I ended up having to settle that case for $42,000. It was not fun, but I know I can remember I had trouble sleeping. I remember when I had to break it to my wife, like, we're getting sued for $42,000. Boy, he's talking about, wow, I don't know something about happened in another state, but that's not a question, so I won't get into that right now. But I remember I couldn't sleep. It was just horrible. It was horrible. But if the attorney would have just put together a defense, that's why it's very important. If you just put together the defense, you're going to be able to at least have the opportunity to be able to win your case. And you can always move to settlement. You can always move to settlement later. That's the thing. You can always move to settlement later. But why not defend yourself first? You always had the opportunity to defend yourself first. So if you all you have to do is put your summons into one file, upload it in Summons Master. It'll create it within 1 to 2 minutes, and it is using natural language processing trained by me. It uses AI, but it is not using assets from AI like ChatGPT or stuff like that. It is just utilizing what I trained it. How I trained it was from experience with helping my clients win their cases upwards to $100,000. Let's see if I have any questions here. No questions there. Let me just ask this quick question. Do you care about your credit? Is anyone in here? Just raise your hand. Just say yes. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Anyone that is here that cares about their credit, all you got to do is just type the word yes on there. That's all you got to do. So if you care about your credit, just type the word yes. So I could at least know that there are people here that care about their credit. Let me see. People care about their credit. I don't know. Let me look right here. Also, I could be looking in the wrong place because I'm kind of new to TikTok, but I'm not seeing people saying that they care about their credit. You gotta care about your credit. If you don't care about your credit, you're gonna be have a lot of people take advantage of you. I just did a video where I was just playing around. I actually played 3 different people in the video, and I was talking about how they do not teach us about credit. Like in school, I remember when I was younger, and they don't even do this anymore. Civics, where they was teaching us civics, and they were teaching us about checkbooks and all of that stuff, but they don't teach you about credit. They really don't teach you about credit. And if they did teach us about how to manage our money, how important it is to have good credit, because if you have good credit, you pay less for the same things that people with bad credit pay more for. Like that simple thing, when people, they'll be like, Steve, I can't even save any money. I'm paying all these payments on stuff. And I'm like, if you just had better credit score, if you just simply had better credit score, you would be paying less for the same things that people with bad credit pay more for. You would be able to save money with your situation right now. Like that, you wouldn't even have to refinance. Well, you would have to refinance, but you would be saving money with the stuff that you're paying on right now. And they would be like, yeah, I agree with that. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. And I have a video on there. Don't sign up yet. Watch the video. What makes us different? Because I show you my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. And what that basically boils down to is the way that we repair credit is different than other people. We're going to do it the right way. We don't want you to have to look over your shoulder. We want you to be able to utilize what is fixed is going to be fixed forever. And then if you need settlements, we're going to help you with settlements, because that's almost everybody's, unless it's your credits have stuff on there that was just from a long time ago. Most people are going to have newer accounts that were recently charged off, and you're going to need to go through a settlement process. And during that settlement process, that's where we would help you be able to resolve your accounts, just like we did for the people that I talked about earlier. Let me look here. Do we got some questions? And while we're looking at that, I want to say that with TikTok, I do like TikTok. I remember I was one of the early users of TikTok, and at that time, here's the crazy thing. To show you what type of a risk taker I am, I remember when I started on TikTok, people were like, it ain't even gonna last. It's not even gonna last, and it looks like TikTok is dominating. Like you got Facebook and TikTok right next to each other, and the only reason why Facebook is they're right next to each other is because TikTok started a whole lot later. But if they started at the same time, the way that TikTok is, it would have made it very difficult for Facebook to succeed. Not to say that they wouldn't, because they put a lot of work into their stuff too. Credit reports. Very important that you get a monitoring service. You know, if your bank provides it, hopefully they'll give you all of the information. But even I get one for free through my bank and also through my credit card provider, but they don't have the information that fully shows everything about who is putting stuff on your credit reports. It just don't show everything. There's a website that we refer people to. You can go to www.your3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all these scores. You gotta have alerts and everything set up so you know if once you get that credit repaired. Number one, as you work through the credit repair process, you're gonna be able to know. Someone said hi. You're gonna be able to know that. There we go. Thank you. I guess I need to say hi back to people. You need to know what's on there and who's putting it on there and the addresses that they're putting it on from. A lot of people don't know that if you have a credit card, some of the times the credit card companies have different addresses for different regions of the United States. And those regions, if you don't dispute to those regions when you're doing a furniture dispute, it's not going to always make it to the right department. They're going to try to send it to the right one, and then it might get lost. You know how they do stuff. You know how they do stuff. Somebody was asking, I don't know. No, I'm not going to do any co-hosting stuff right now. If you're a credit repair company, I'll let you come on as a co-host if you're a credit repair company, but not just individual. Not to say that I wouldn't want to, but if it's a credit repair company, let's see here. Got someone here, might be a guest. Let me see here. Let me check you out. I'm still learning this stuff. It says here, Jamie, tell me about what you do, and then I'll make a decision on that. Tell me what you do if you're a credit repair business. Because what I'm looking at doing is, number one, with credit repair businesses, I help them with lead generation if they don't have a steady amount of flow. I know a lot of credit repair business owners do content stuff, but if you're ever in need of learning how to generate leads, we generate hundreds of leads every day with our company. I'm surprised that people are not. Let me tell you here, I wish I could do like a little image thing with my credit scores. My credit scores across the board are I think 848 now. 848, 847, 845. And I know when my credit scores were low, I would want to ask people with higher credit scores, what did you do to get your credit scores up? So I'm here. I'm here for y'all. Ask those questions, because if you want those answers, you got to ask those questions. Let me see here. And I'm still learning this. So let's see. I wish that I could get some information about people who are trying to come on, because I don't want to just have people pop on and it's not going to be relevant to what we're talking about here. So what we're going to do right now, I got one of my employees is coming to the office. What I want to do is, if you were maybe you didn't want to ask a question here on my profile page, you can ask your question about credit, and I'm willing to help you. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website that's YOUR, 3, scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, go to summinsmaster.com to grab to get a fully formatted response to every allegation and a defense to potentially win your case. We carry you all the way through. It's not one of these services where you use it and you can't speak to anyone. It's one-man show. No, I have a whole staff right over there. Whole staff right over there that will back me up with calls and talking to people. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com.